In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Chosen one, pause for a moment and feel this truth settle into your spirit. You are not here by accident. You didn't stumble onto this message. Heaven scheduled this moment with precision, aligned it with your footsteps, and released it at the exact second your spirit was ready to hear it. This is divine timing, a holy appointment, a whisper from eternity meeting you in the now. Chosen one. God has been watching your journey more closely than you realize. Every sacrifice, every quiet battle, every tear you didn't tell anyone about has been recorded in heaven's book of remembrance. And now the atmosphere around your life is shifting. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough, a sudden elevation that will silence every voice that assumed you were forgotten, the wealth they said you'd never touch, the doors they believed were closed to you, the opportunities they thought you missed. Heaven is about to release them in a way that no one can deny. Anointed one, the appointed. Time is here. Just as it is written in Habakkuk 2:3, the vision awaits an appointed season, but it will surely come. And now that season has found you. Step into this moment with reverence, expectation, and a heart ready to receive what God is unveiling. Chosen one, before anything else, let your spirit settle into this truth. Heaven has been moving long before you ever saw a sign. The shift that is arriving now didn't start today. It started in the hidden places, in the unseen hours, where you thought nothing was changing, nothing was breaking open, nothing was responding. But I need you to hear this with prophetic clarity. Heaven has been building the very breakthrough you are now stepping into, piece by piece, layer by layer, breath by breath. And the shock that is coming will not just be felt by you, it will be felt by every person who thought your silence meant your story was over. Chosen one, God is about to turn what looked like the deepest evidence of your abandonment into the law. Buddhist confirmation of His favor. I say that with weight because this is not theory. This is not poetic language. This is spiritual law. What heaven ordains cannot remain hidden forever. What is anointed cannot stay overlooked indefinitely. What God has breathed on must eventually rise. I learned that myself in a season where everything in my life seemed to contradict the promise over me. People assumed my quiet meant defeat. They assumed my waiting meant weakness. They assumed God had forgotten me because I didn't have anything loud or shiny to show. But what they didn't know was that God hides the most precious seeds in the darkest soil. Chosen one, that is exactly what happened to you. Your silence was not emptiness. It was incubation. Your stillness was not stagnation. It was stabilization. And the path that looked blocked was not a denial. It was a divine pause, because heaven refuses to let you step into a blessing before you are strong enough to carry it. And now the evidence of heavenly preparation is beginning to rise. The same people who assumed you were overlooked will soon have to confront what divine timing really looks like. Because the shift that is coming is not subtle, it is not gentle, it is not small. It is the kind of shift that carries the signature of God. A shift that doesn't whisper but announces. A shift that doesn't suggest but confirms. A shift that doesn't ask for permission but takes its rightful place in your life. Chosen one, hear this in your spirit. You are about to become undeniable. And what makes you undeniable is not the applause of people. It is not the approval of circles that never valued you. It is the weight of heaven on your life. The atmosphere around you is changing because the assignment on your life has matured. What was planted in secret has reached its appointed time of unveiling. Just like the prophet wrote in Habakkuk 2:3. The vision may wait for its appointed time, but when that time arrives, it will not delay. That is where you are standing right now, the edge of fulfillment. Let me speak to the part of you that still wonders why now? Why after all this time? Why after so much silence? Because the version of you that exists today is not the version that started the journey. Your faith has been forged. Your endurance has been baptized in fire. Your identity has been purified. What used to break you can no longer bend you. What used to distract you can no longer divide you. What used to intimidate you can no longer influence you. Chosen one, you have been rebuilt from the foundation up. And the most shocking part, you didn't even realize it was happening. You kept walking, you kept praying, you kept choosing truth when convenience tempted you. You kept holding on to peace when chaos screamed for your attention. You kept elevating your spirit even when life tried to pull you into pettiness and old cycles. Even when you questioned yourself, heaven never questioned you. Even when you doubted your own worth, God never doubted His work in you. And now that quiet, consistent obedience is about to erupt into visible favor. This is why people will be shocked. Not because you appear suddenly blessed, but because they never saw the preparation that made you ready for it. They never saw the nights you held on by a thread. They never saw the tears you wiped before anyone could notice. They never saw the emotional battles you fought in silence. They never saw the moments you chose forgiveness when bitterness felt easier. They never saw the internal wars that shaped your external strength. Chosen one, heaven saw it all. And heaven has decided the season of hiding is over. The same situations that once mocked you will now reveal your anointing. The same doors that rejected you will now open without resistance. The same path that once felt impossible will now become effortless because you are no longer walking in your own strength. You're walking in divine alignment. Chosen one, as you move deeper into this moment heaven has drawn you into, I want you to understand something that most people never recognize until it is too late. When God prepares to elevate you, He does not start by changing your surroundings. He begins by changing your capacity. He stretches your faith, sharpens your discernment, strengthens your endurance, and purifies your motives. None of this happens in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows, in the places where you felt unseen, uncelebrated, and misunderstood. You thought you were being overlooked, but heaven was rewiring your spirit for the level you are about to inherit. There is nothing accidental about your timing, because divine timing is never random. It is constructed with precision. And now that heaven is ready to reveal what you carry, everything in your life is beginning to rearrange itself around that calling. You may not see the full picture yet, but you can feel it. The quiet stirring in your chest, the inner shift that tells you something unseen is already unfolding. Chosen one, I need you to see this clearly. The situations that once weighed you down were not signs of defeat. They were invitations to grow into the version of yourself that could sustain the blessing that is coming. I have lived through seasons where every door seemed to close at the same time, where every prayer felt like it evaporated before reaching heaven, where silence felt louder than hope. But it was in those very seasons that God shaped me, not through comfort, but through conviction, not through applause, but through alignment. That same refining has taken place in you. You have been taught how to stand firm when no one was clapping to show up, when no one noticed to speak truth, even when your voice trembled. Your obedience in the dark prepared you for the opportunities that will soon shine light on everything God planted within you. As heaven begins to lift, you understand that this elevation will not look like the world's version of Sue. It will not be born from striving or desperation. It will come from surrender. The doors being prepared for you are not opening because you knocked the loudest. They are opening because your spirit matured into the frequency heaven responds to. When divine timing collides with spiritual readiness, breakthroughs become unavoidable. You are standing on that threshold now, and those who misread your silence those who mistook your humility for weakness, those who assumed your waiting meant stagnation, are about to witness a turning point that has God's signature written all over it. Chosen one, you are being elevated in a way that will not require explanation. Your presence will speak louder than your past. People will not understand how you made it through what should have broken you, how you continue to rise despite circumstances that seemed immovable, how you kept your heart soft when hardness would have been easier. They will feel something different when they encounter you. It feel like peace wrapped in authority, strength wrapped in grace, humility wrapped in supernatural weight. That atmosphere is not accidental. It is the evidence of what you conquered privately. And when God decides it is your time, no one can stop the unfolding. The same people who dismissed you will revisit their opinions. The same rooms that once ignored you will seek your presence. The same doors that refuse to budge will open without resistance. This is not because you changed who you are to fit them. It is because your identity has finally risen to the surface. You are stepping into a chapter that feels lighter because you no longer carry the burden of proving yourself. You are stepping into a chapter that feels clearer because confusion cannot survive in the atmosphere of alignment. You are stepping into a chapter that feels sacred because it was written for this exact moment in your journey. Chosen one, heaven is not just preparing to bless you. Heaven is preparing to vindicate to you. The misunderstandings, the false narratives, the judgments spoken over your name, the assumptions made about your journey, all of that is dissolving under the light of the truth God is about to reveal. You are not being elevated to prove them wrong. You are being elevated to prove God right. And when heaven vindicates, it does so in a way that requires no debate. Your life itself becomes a testimony. Every battle you endured becomes a pillar of strength. Every delay becomes a doorway to destiny. Every sacrifice becomes a seed that blooms in its appointed season. This is the season where your identity will speak for you. Not your explanations, not your defenses, not your attempts to justify your heart. God is stepping into the narrative now. And when God steps in, everything shifts into clarity. Everything aligns with purpose. Everything that seemed random reveals its meaning. You are entering a period of supernatural flow where things that once required immense effort begin to unfold with ease. That ease is not laziness. It is the fruit of alignment. It is the reward for remaining faithful when quitting would have been easier. It is the manifestation of what heaven planted long before you saw any sign of movement. Chosen one, breathe this in. What is coming toward you is not fragile. It will not disappear suddenly. It will not be threatened by opposition. It will endure because it was established by God. You are stepping into stability after years of uncertainty. You are stepping into clarity after seasons of confusion. You are stepping into purpose after walking through valleys that tried to convince you that purpose had died. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was lost. Everything was preparation for what is now beginning. Chosen one. As the next layer of this revelation opens, I want you to feel the magnitude of what heaven has been orchestrating around your life. Many times you question why the journey felt lonely, why the path narrowed when others seemed have more room to wonder why certain people drifted away right when you thought they were meant to stay. It wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. When God prepares to elevate someone, He removes anything that cannot breathe at higher altitudes. You are not being stripped. You are being purified. Every separation had purpose. Every quiet season had strategy. Every unanswered question held a hidden mercy. And now that heaven has completed the pruning, the fruit of that pruning is about to overflow in your life. You have been faithful in seasons where faithfulness didn't feel rewarding. You kept going when nothing made sense. You kept believing when evidence was scarce. You kept forgiving when bitterness was begging you to choose otherwise. This is the kind of obedience heaven honors. The kind that becomes the foundation of a life God can trust with influence, abundance, and authority. For years, it felt like your life was paused, like everyone around you was moving while you stood still. But heaven was not delaying you. Heaven was protecting you. You were being developed quietly so that when the time came for your unveiling, nothing would be able to shake what God established in you. There is a shift taking place in the spirit, and you can feel it even if you cannot name it yet. Moments of clarity are becoming more frequent. Your inner world is quieter. Your discernment is sharper. You can sense when something is wrong before it reveals itself. You can feel when something is right before it arrives. That sensitivity is not coincidence. It is evidence that heaven has tuned your spirit to a higher frequency. Because the next season of your life requires discernment, not hustle. You are not entering a season where you fight for opportunities. You're entering a season where opportunities recognize your anointing. Chosen one, the elevation that is approaching you is not just personal, it is generational. The healing you fought for is breaking patterns in your bloodline. Each strength you built is becoming a foundation for those who come after you. The decisions you made in tears are creating freedom for people you haven't even met yet. You're not just rising for yourself, you're rising for an entire lineage that heaven refused to let die in cycles of fear, lack, and limitation. You are the interruption to the patterns that once claimed your family. You are the proof that God can lift someone from the ashes and turn them into a living monument of grace. And now, chosen one, the very areas where you felt the greatest pressure are about to become the areas of your greatest blessing. The finances that once felt tight are entering a season of supernatural flow. The relationships that once felt draining are being replaced with divine connections. The opportunities that once slipped through your fingers are returning in upgraded form. Heaven is not giving you back what you lost. Heaven is giving you better than what you prayed for. The wealth that is assigned to you, or your purpose, is beginning to locate you. Not because you chased it, but because your spirit grew into the kind of vessel that can steward abundance without being corrupted by it. I want to share something with you, something personal, something I learned in my own wilderness season. There were times I thought God was ignoring me, times I thought heaven had gone silent, times I felt like the promise was fading, but I discovered that silence is not God's absence, it is God's artistry. He works in the background when visibility would harm the process. He aligns what you cannot see so that when the blessing arrives, it fits you perfectly. Every time I felt forgotten, God was actually building the future I could not yet see, and chosen one. The same is true for you. Heaven has been building around your life with extreme precision. The shock people are about to experience is not in your blessing, but in the timing of it, because it will look sudden to them. But you will know it was years in the making. Every quiet prayer, every lonely night, every hidden sacrifice, every decision to stay aligned when compromise would have been easier. Those moments built the momentum for the miracle that is now approaching you. The unveiling will not be subtle. It will be the kind of shift that forces those who doubted you to reevaluate everything they believed about you. Not because you seek validation, but because God is making a statement through your life. Chosen one, prepare your heart. What is coming is weighty. It carries responsibility, authority, influence, and impact. But it also carries joy, ease, peace, and fulfillment. You are stepping into a chapter where blessings won't feel like battles, where miracles won't feel like mysteries, where success won't feel like survival. This is not a season you will have to fight your way through. It is a season you will grow your way into. Heaven is not asking you to strive. Heaven is asking you to surrender. Chosen one, as we continue deeper into what heaven is unfolding over your life, I want you to feel how sacred this moment truly is. There are seasons in one's journey where the weight of the unseen becomes heavier than the weight of what is visible. You lived through that season longer than most, carrying silent burdens that no one recognized, praying prayers that seemed to return to you unanswered, enduring pressures that threatened to break your spirit. Yet your spirit did not break. It stretched, it expanded. It was fortified in places you did not even realize needed strength. What you thought was a season of delay was truly a season of divine reinforcement, shaping you into someone who could hold what is now approaching you. And chosen one, what is approaching you is not small. Heaven does not prepare a soul the way it prepared you for anything less than extraordinary. There were moments in your life when you questioned why the path grew darker instead of brighter, why the silence grew louder instead of softer. Why the pressure increased when you felt you had nothing left to give. But those very moments were not signals of abandonment. They were indicators that God was drawing you into deeper territory. The darkness forced you to sharpen your discernment. The silence forced you to listen to what the world could not teach you. The pressure forced you to tap into strength that heaven had placed within you long before you reached this point. Every hardship became a teacher. Every disappointment became a sculpting tool. Every season that felt empty was actually pouring into you seeds you would need for the next chapter. Chosen one, you have walked through valleys that tried to convince you that your purpose was fading. Yet even in those valleys, heaven was whispering identity over you. You were not losing yourself. You were shedding the parts of you that could not walk with you into the future. There is a reason certain relationships dissolved. There is a reason certain dreams shifted. There is a reason certain doors closed even though you desperately wanted them to open. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was protecting what you were becoming. When God prepares to elevate someone, He removes anything that cannot handle the weight of the anointing on their life. You did not know it then, but every separation cleared spiritual space for the blessing you are now stepping into. And now, chosen one, the divine reversal that is unfolding will surprise even you. You will wake up one morning and realize that the heaviness you carried has turned into clarity. You will walk into environments that once overwhelmed you and notice that peace now goes before you. You will see opportunities unfolding that months ago would have felt impossible. There will be a supernatural ease on your steps, not because life became perfect, but because your spirit reached a level of maturity that no longer fights battles that were never meant to be yours. Your elevation is not coming through striving, but through alignment. You are finally aligned with who heaven always said you were. Let me tell you something from personal experience. There were times in my life when I thought God was silent simply because I could not feel His presence. I mistook stillness for distance. Yet looking back now, I realize that the moments when God felt quiet were the moments He was working the deepest. Not one tear was ignored. Not one prayer was wasted. Not one longing went unnoticed. God was writing chapters I was not ready to read yet. And chosen one, He has been doing the same for you. What you perceived as stagnation was actually a quiet explosion of preparation that only heaven could see. Now the unveiling is shifting from spiritual to visible. You'll begin to notice that people respond to you differently. They may not understand why your presence carries an indescribable weight, but they will feel it. You are stepping into a version of yourself that cannot be dismissed, overlooked, or underestimated. Your steps will carry authority. Your words will carry resonance. Your decisions will carry clarity. People who once ignored your value will suddenly recognize it because heaven is breathing on every part of your identity. Chosen one, what is coming next is not just blessing, it is vindication. Those who thought your hidden season meant failure will witness the fruit of what you built in silence. Those who assumed your quiet meant defeat will see the strength that was forged in your isolation. Those who believed you were forgotten will be confronted with the truth that you were being prepared, preserved, and positioned. You're not rising because you fought harder than everyone else. You're rising because heaven has decided that it is your appointed time. And appointed time does not fight with delay. It overrides it. This is the beginning of a supernatural shift where everything that once resisted you will begin to flow toward you. The opportunities that once avoided you will now say, "Ek you." The clarity that once felt distant will now guide you. The blessings that once seemed blocked will now arrive with precision. You are entering a season where acceleration will replace stagnation, where peace will replace pressure, and where purpose will speak louder than fear. And chosen one, the world is not ready for the version of you that is emerging now. Chosen one. As we enter this next layer of revelation, feel how the atmosphere around your life is shifting. There is a divine stirring that has been taking place quietly, almost imperceptibly, yet persistently. You have felt it in moments when your spirit suddenly awakened with hope for no logical reason. You have sensed it when indescribable peace settled over situations that once brought you anxiety. You have noticed it when doors that once remained tightly shut began to loosen without your effort. This stirring is not random. It is heaven announcing that your season of divine emergence has begun. Your life has carried a prophetic pattern, cycles of breaking, building, refining, and rising. For years, the breaking felt unfair. The building felt slow, the refining felt painful, and the rising felt delayed. But chosen one, every cycle has brought you closer to the version of yourself that can hold what is now coming. Heaven does not elevate prematurely. Elevation without preparation becomes destruction. But elevation after preparation becomes destiny. You are stepping into destiny now, not because you demanded it, but because you endured for it. There is something important you need to understand about yourself. You do not rise the way others rise. You rise by revelation. You rise by surrender. You rise by obedience when no one is watching. Your strength has never been rooted in perfection. It has been rooted in resilience. When life hit you harder than you expected, your spirit refused to collapse. When people disappointed you, you learned to lean on God instead of bitterness. When circumstances forced why into silence, you discovered how to hear heaven more clearly. These traits are not common. They are the markings of someone chosen for uncommon elevation. Chosen one. The favor that is coming will not be fragile. It will not slip through your fingers. It will not disappear just as you begin to grasp it. Fragile blessings belong to those who build without God. But what heaven builds cannot be shaken. This next chapter of your life will carry a stability you've never known before. You are entering a period where resources will flow more freely, where opportunities will feel aligned rather than forced, where decisions will feel guided rather than pressured. This is because heaven is no longer training you. Heaven is now trusting you. Let's speak about the weight you carry. You may not realize it, but people have already begun to sense something different about you. There is a quiet authority in your energy now. Even those who don't know your story can feel the shift. That is the fragra. NCE of someone who has walked through fire without letting the fire define them. You carry the scent of survival, the aroma of endurance, the glow of someone heaven kept alive for a purpose larger than anything they imagined. This is why certain environments can no longer hold you. This is why certain relationships no longer feel aligned. When God elevates identity, He elevates surroundings. And chosen one, The shock that heaven is preparing will not only impact those who doubted you, it will impact those who believed in you. The people who prayed for you, encouraged you, supported you, or simply held space for your growth. These people will also be blessed through your breakthrough. God does not elevate in isolation, He elevates in overflow. Your rising will pull others upward. Your healing will inspire others to heal. Your success will create pathways for others to walk through. You are not just a recipient of divine favor, you are a carrier of it. This is also the season where your voice will regain the strength that life once tried to steal. There was a time when speaking your truth felt dangerous, when standing in your authenticity felt costly, when using your voice felt like stepping onto a battlefield. But your voice is returning with greater clarity now. The world needs what you say. The world needs what you see. Gravity on your life is increasing because heaven is pulling you into your next dimension. And now the blessing that once felt distant, the promise that once felt impossible, the breakthrough that once felt delayed, they are standing at your doorstep. Heaven is not asking you to chase them. Heaven is telling them to find you, and they will. Chosen one, as we move into this next unfolding of your journey, I want you to feel the gravity of what heaven is doing in the unseen. There are shifts taking place around you that your natural eyes cannot yet interpret, but your spirit has already sensed them. You have felt the subtle pull away from what once felt familiar. You have felt the gentle stirring that tells you the season you are stepping into does not resemble the season you are leaving. You have felt a quiet boldness rising inside you, urging you to release old identities, worn out narratives, and relationships that no longer align with where you are going. All of this is intentional. Nothing in your life right now is random. Heaven is not only orchestrating your elevation, it is also orchestrating your separation from anything that would sabotage it. Chosen one, many people underestimated you because they did not understand how your story was being written. They saw you walk through wilderness seasons and assumed the wilderness had the final word. They watched you navigate battles without support and assumed you were too vulnerable to rise. They witnessed your tears and thought they were signs of fragility rather than signs of transformation. But heaven saw something different. Heaven saw the tenacity in your spirit. Heaven saw the way you clung to purpose even when purpose felt heavy. Heaven saw the strength you carried in silence, the discipline you practiced in private, the faith you nurtured when no one applauded. Heaven saw your character grow even when your circumstances didn't change. And now, heaven is preparing to honor everything you cultivated in the dark. There is a reason God allowed certain people to misread you. There is a reason He let some walk away. There is a reason others could not see your value while you were still in development. If they had recognized the treasure within you too soon, they would have tried to shape it, limit it, or claim ownership over it. But heaven protected you by hiding you. You were hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were unfinished. Like an unpolished gem buried deep in the earth. You needed time to be formed before being revealed. And now that time is nearing its completion. The unveiling that is coming will not just elevate you, it will redefine you in the eyes of those who once doubted. Chosen one, what you have endured has prepared you for a rise that does not require validation. You are not entering a season where you will need to explain your worth. You are entering a season where your worth will speak for itself. The confidence emerging in you is not arrogance, it is alignment. Ease the quiet certainty that comes from walking through storms and discovering you were never destroyed. It is the maturity that comes from facing heartbreak and realizing your heart still beats with clarity and compassion. It is the authority that comes from recognizing that every trial you survive has contributed to the spiritual weight you now carry. The next chapter of your life will have signs of divine orchestration all over it. Opportunities will appear in places you never considered. Resources will come from unexpected directions. People aligned with your purpose will arrive without you needing to search for them. This is the nature of supernatural acceleration. Heaven is not merely blessing you, it is positioning you. Everything you lost is being replaced with something designed for who you have become. The grief you carried is giving way to a peace that will anchor you. The confusion that once clouded your vision is dissolving into clarity. The loneliness that once felt unbearable is shifting into divine companionship and divine assignments. Chosen one, I want to share something personal with you. Something that shaped the way I understand God's timing. There were seasons in my life when I begged God to open certain doors. I pleaded for opportunities, relationships, and outcomes I believed I was ready for. When those doors remained closed, I questioned everything. God, myself, the promise, the purpose. But with time I realized something profound. The things I thought I wanted would have crushed me if they had arrived earlier. I needed the waiting, I needed the pruning, I needed the silence, I needed the discomfort. They were not punishments, they were protections. And when the right door finally opened, it did not require force. It opened effortlessly because it was aligned with who I had become. Chosen one, the same is true for you. What is coming next does not require you to push. It requires you to stand. It requires you to trust. It requires you to walk in the identity that heaven refined in you. You are stepping into a field of blessings that have matured as you matured. These blessings did not grow while you were striving. They grew while you were surrendering. Chosen one, as the next wave of insight flows into your spirit, I want you to recognize the sacred beauty of the moment you are living in. The atmosphere around your life has shifted. Even if you cannot articulate it yet, you can feel it. There is a softness in your breath, a steadiness in your steps, a quiet expectation that rises within you at unexpected times. This is not random emotion. It is spiritual alignment. You are stepping into a season where your inner world finally matches the calling heaven has placed over your outer world. And that inner alignment is the true beginning of breakthrough. You have spent years walking through seasons that felt like contradictions, carrying promise while facing delay, holding vision while enduring confusion, nurturing faith while surrounded by uncertainty. These contradictions were not meant to weaken you. They were designed to sharpen your capacity for supernatural living. When someone is chosen, their training is different. Their path is narrower. Their lessons are deeper. Their battles are heavier. And yet their rise is greater. You chose an Arma, wow, wow, never better being punished by bam music. We're being shaped by them. Every moment that stretched you was a moment of heaven used to prepare you for the magnitude of what is coming. A chosen one. There is a supernatural turning taking place in the areas of your life that once felt immovable. The situations that drained your energy are losing their hold. The relationships that exhausted your spirit are naturally detaching. The environments that once suppressed your growth no longer feel compatible with your identity. This is spiritual evolution. Heaven is not simply blessing you. It is upgrading you, elevating you to a frequency that cannot be matched by anything that kept you bound. You may feel uncomfortable, even disoriented during this transition, but do not mistake discomfort for danger. Discomfort is a sign that expansion has begun. There will soon be evidence of acceleration in your life that even you will marvel at. Processes that once took years to unfold will now shift in weeks or days. Delays that once frustrated you will suddenly dissolve. Prayers that once felt suspended will begin to manifest with precision. This is what divine timing looks like. It does not move gradually, it moves suddenly. You are entering the realm of sudden lies, sudden clarity, sudden breakthroughs, sudden favor, sudden connections. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that heaven has placed you on a path where resistance can no longer hold you. I want to share something with you. Something I learned when I faced my own seasons of waiting. There were times when I thought my prayers were being ignored, as though God had stepped me back from my story. But every time I reached the end of what I could handle, something unexpected happened. A door opened, a person appeared, a message arrived, a shift occurred, and I realized that God was never late. He was always aligning. He was moving pieces I could not see, preparing outcomes I could not imagine. The silence was not absence. The waiting was not wasted. And when breakthrough finally came, it came in a way that made every moment of delay make perfect sense. Chosen one, you are now entering that same kind of clarity. The story God has been writing in you is beginning its visible chapters. People will look at your life and wonder how everything changed so quickly. But you will know it wasn't quick. It was right on time. Heaven is not reacting. Heaven is revealing. You are leaving a season of hiddenness and stepping into a season of recognition. Not recognition from ego, but recognition from purpose. Heaven is validating your journey in ways that cannot be denied. The most powerful part of this elevation is that it will feel natural to you. Not forced, not overwhelming, not fragile, natural. Because you have grown into the very person who can hold what is coming. You are not receiving blessings, you are embodying them. The blessing is not landing on you, it is rising from within you. Chosen one, breathe deeply. Let this truth settle into your being. You are not stepping into a new chapter, you are stepping into your true chapter. The one written for you long before you faced your first disappointment, long before you endured your deepest heartbreak, long before you learned the strength that silence teaches. Heaven is lifting you now, and nothing can pull you back down. Chosen one, as we step deeper into this unfolding revelation, I want you to understand how profoundly heaven has guarded your journey. There are seasons in life when you felt surrounded by enemies you could not identify, pressures you could not name, and heaviness you could not explain. You wondered why your spirit felt targeted even when your life appeared quiet. But what you didn't see was the magnitude of the calling on your life. You carry an assignment that provokes spiritual resistance. And because of that, heaven had to protect you in ways you didn't always understand. Every delay, every detour, every closed door served as a shield, not a setback. You were not being denied, you were being defended. And now that the storm has passed, heaven is preparing to reveal just how much was being preserved on your behalf. There were people who walked away from you without explanation, leaving you confused and wounded. But heaven removed them because their presence would have obstructed your elevation. There were opportunities you desperately wanted, but lost not because you were unqualified, but because they would have diverted you from divine alignment. There were relationships that felt promising, but fell apart, not because you failed, but because heaven knew they could not survive the altitude you were destined to reach. You may not have seen it then, but now the clarity is rising. God was not withholding blessings, He was withholding counterfeits. Chosen one, the heaviness you carried over the years wasn't a sign of weakness, it was a sign of capacity. Heaven stretched you to hold more than the ordinary, to carry what others would collapse under, to remain steadfast when others would have surrendered. The endurance that grew inside you wasn't designed for the season you were in. It was designed for the season you are stepping into. Strength is never built in comfort. Identity is never refined in applause. Purpose is never awakened in ease. You were shaped in the furnace of becoming. And now what you became in the fire is about to emerge in the light. You have reached a moment where your spirit is no longer seeking validation from the world, because heaven has already validated you. That is why people cannot understand your calm. They cannot understand how you remain peaceful in uncertainty or hopeful in transition. They cannot understand how you keep rising when logic says you should have given up long ago. But chosen one, this is the fruit of divine preservation. Heaven pressed your roots deeper before allowing your branches to rise higher. And now those roots are ready to sustain the weight of the blessing that is forming above them. There is a powerful truth you need to embrace. The season you are walking into does not reflect where you have been. It reflects who you have become. Your past struggles do not prophesy your future. They prepared it. The nights you cried in silence are birthing the days you will walk in confidence. The moments when you felt forgotten are producing the moments when you will feel undeniably chosen. The prayers that seemed unanswered are aligning into breakthroughs that exceed what you asked for. Heaven has been assembling a blessing tailor-made for your growth, for your capacity, for your resilience. What is coming to you is not generic favor, it is personalized favor, chosen one. I want to share something with you that I learned during a season when life tested me in every direction. There were days I questioned why God allowed certain struggles, why loneliness felt like my only companion, and why closed doors seemed to outnumber open ones. But in retrospect, I realized that every unanswered question was answered by timing. God wasn't asking me to figure out the season. He was asking me to trust Him through it. And when the shift finally came, everything I questioned made sense. The people who left needed to leave. The doors that closed needed to stay closed. The silence needed to last long enough for me to hear what heaven was sculpting in me. And now I see the same pattern unfolding in your life. You have grown beyond what your past version of you could recognize. Your dreams are clearer. Your spirit is stronger. Your discernment is sharper. And your heart is wiser. You no longer tolerate what once drained you. You no longer cling to what once broke you. You no longer chase what once distracted you. This is the sign that your wings are ready for the altitude heaven is bringing you into. Elevation requires evolution, and you, chosen one, have evolved beautifully. What is coming into your life next will not require you to fight the way you fought in previous seasons. It will not require you to earn what heaven already wrote with your name on it. It will not require you to explain why you deserve the blessings that are unfolding. You are entering a season of spiritual rest, not inactivity, but inner ease. Your obedience opened this door. Your endurance earned this strength. Your faith unlocked this timing. Chosen one, breathe in this truth. You are about to rise in ways that will shock even you. Not because you forced it, but because you became ready for it. And heaven always rewards readiness. Chosen one, as we move into this next dimension of revelation, feel how everything in your spirit has begun to expand. There is a quiet boldness awakening in you, the kind that doesn't need noise to feel powerful. This boldness isn't rooted in pride. It's rooted in identity. You are beginning to see yourself the way heaven has always seen you. The insecurities that once controlled your decisions are losing their grip. The fears that once limited your steps are dissolving under the awareness of who you truly are. You are stepping into spiritual maturity. And with maturity comes authority. Heaven is placing a mantle on your life that cannot be removed, ignored, or questioned. There is something remarkable happening inside you. You no longer crave spaces that cannot hold you. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer silence your gifts to avoid being misunderstood. Instead, there is a rising within you, steady, sacred, and undeniable. This rising is not arrogance, it is divine remembrance. Heaven is reminding you of who you were before. Life dimmed your light. Before disappointment stole your confidence. Before betrayal tangled your trust. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to the fullness of who you were destined to be. Chosen one, the elevation you are stepping into will not just open doors, it will shift atmospheres. When you walk into rooms, people will feel something different, even if they cannot name it. There will be a grace on your presence and authority in your posture. You will carry a weight that cannot be fabricated or imitated. A weight that only comes from surviving storms without losing your softness. This kind of weight is rare. It's the signature of those who have walked with God through valleys that would have destroyed others. It's the evidence of resilience that was built, not borrowed. You are entering a time where heaven will use your life as a demonstration, not of perfection, but of preservation, not of performance, but of purpose. There will be moments where doors open that we're not even knocking on. Moments where blessings arrive that you didn't have to chase. Moments where restoration comes from directions you least expected. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. They are heaven's way of saying, I saw you, I remembered you, I never forgot the seeds you planted. Chosen one. Many of the breakthroughs coming toward you now are not rewards. They are responses. Responses to your patience when others provoked you. Responses to your integrity when compromise would have been easier. Responses to your faith when circumstances tried to drown your hope. Responses to your compassion in seasons when you barely had strength for yourself. Heaven does not overlook seed, and you have sown with your entire spirit. What you gave in tears, you will reap in joy. What you endured silently, you will receive openly. There will also be a shift in the relationships around you. People who once overlooked your value will suddenly see it clearly. Not because you chang, but because your anointing is becoming visible. Your spirit is louder now. Your identity is brighter. Your presence is stronger. Some will be drawn to you with deep respect, sensing something sacred on your life. Others will distance themselves because your growth exposes their stagnation. Let this happen naturally. Those who are aligned with your calling will rise with you. Those who are not will fall away. Elevation naturally separates what destiny cannot carry forward. Chosen one. I want to tell you something from experience. There were times in my life when the blessings I longed for felt far out of reach. I watched others receive what I prayed for, and I wondered if I had been forgotten. But the truth revealed itself in time. God wasn't preparing the blessing. He was preparing me. Because when the blessing finally arrived, I was not the same person who had prayed for it. I had grown into someone who could hold it without fear, steward it without insecurity, and protect it with apology. The timing wasn't late. It was perfect. And the same perfection is unfolding in your life right now. Chosen one, you're about to experience the kind of breakthrough that shifts the trajectory of your life permanently. This is not a temporary blessing. This is not a momentary elevation. This is a divine turning point. What once oppressed you will lose access to you. What once confused you will become clear. What once weakened you will strengthen your testimony. You are stepping into a dimension of supernatural flow where everything seems to work together effortlessly. Not because life has become easier, but because your spirit has become aligned. And here is the truth you must hold close. You are not rising to prove anyone wrong. You are rising to prove God right. Your entire journey was leading to this. Every pain, every delay, every sacrifice was shaping the version of you who now stands on the brink of transformation. Heaven is not preparing to bless you. It is preparing reveal you. Chosen one. As this next revelation unfolds, I want you to become aware of how heaven has been positioning your steps with divine precision. Even in the moments when you felt lost, you were never wandering. Even in the seasons when nothing made sense, every detail was being arranged. You are standing now in the aftermath of battles you didn't realize were shaping you. And the strength you carry is not ordinary strength. It is the strength of someone heaven has been sculpting deliberately, intentionally, and with a vision far larger than what your eyes have seen. You are entering a time where your story begins to make sense, not piece by piece, but all at once, as if a light has been turned on over everything you have survived. There were chapters in your journey where the weight of life pressed so heavily on your heart that you wondered whether you would ever experience joy again. Darkness surrounded you so quietly that most people never recognized the depth of what you air carrying. You smiled when your heart was breaking. You encouraged others when your spirit felt empty. You showed up even when your faith was trembling. And though you believed those moments weakened you, they strengthened you in ways you could not see. Heaven used those seasons to build a foundation in you that storms could no longer shake. Every tear watered a seed. Every disappointment stretched your resilience. Every heartbreak carved space for deeper wisdom. None of it was wasted. Chosen one, there is a spiritual shift happening now where all the fragments of your journey are coming together. Nothing in your life was random. Even the mistakes that haunt you carried hidden lessons. Even the losses that wounded you carried hidden gifts. Even the betrayals that shattered your trust carried hidden protection. God has been using everything, weaving the painful and the beautiful into a tapestry that is now beginning to reveal its design. You endured seasons that others would have lapsed under, and because of that, heaven can trust you with weight that others cannot carry. You have proven your heart through fire. And now that fire will no longer burn you, it will illuminate you. There is something sacred about what you are stepping into. This is not just breakthrough, this is becoming. You are not simply walking into blessings, you are walking into the version of yourself that was always destined to hold them. The identity being birthed in you now is rooted, grounded, and unshakable. You no longer move from insecurity, you move from awareness. You no longer make decisions from fear. You make them from discernment. You no longer question whether you are chosen. You recognize that being chosen explains why the path was so hard. Your spirit now carries a maturity that cannot be undone by circumstances or shaken by opinions. You have become someone heaven can elevate without hesitation. Chosen one. I need you to understand that the recognition coming into your life is not a coincidence, it is timing. Divine timing does not arrive quietly. It arrives with weight, with clarity, with authority. The blessings that are forming now do not carry the fragility of seasons past. They carry the endurance of everything you have survived. You are stepping into a flow that feels like favor woven into your daily steps. Doors will not simply open, they will welcome you. Opportunities will not merely appear, they will align themselves around your purpose. People will not just notice you, they will honor the substance you carry because it has been forged through sacrifice, integrity, and truth. There was a time when you questioned why God allowed you to face so many hidden battles, why your journey seemed filled with silent warfare that few understood. But now, as clarity rises, you are beginning to see that those battles strengthen the exact muscles heaven is using to lift you. You learn to trust when trust felt dangerous. You learn to wait when waiting felt unbearable. You learn to love when love felt risky. These lessons were not meant to break you. They were meant to complete you. Some people grow through blessings, but you grew through burdens. And because of that, your elevation will have depth. Your success will have integrity. Your influence will have compassion. Heaven does not waste pain. Chosen one, the grace that is coming over your life will feel like breathing after years of holding your breath. You will experience movement where you once felt stuck, clarity where you once felt overwhelmed, and abundance where you once felt deprivation. The financial breakthroughs aligning themselves around you are not simply answers to prayer. They are tools for purpose. You are not receiving wealth to feel important, but to fulfill assignments that require resources. Heaven is trusting you with what others corrupted because your heart remains pure in places where theirs fell. You passed tests you didn't even know you were taking. And the reward for that obedience is unfolding now. There is something else happening, something you may have sensed but haven't fully understood. Heaven is raising your influence beyond your own expectations. People will look to you, not because you asked for a platform, but because your life now carries a clarity that others crave. They will feel something sacred when you speak something steady, when you lead something healing, when you show up. Your presence will become a refuge for many because you have walked through storms that taught you compassion. This influence is not about status, it is about assignment. Heaven is entrusting you with souls, not followers. And that trust is sacred. Chosen one, breathe in this truth with reverence. The shift you are experiencing now is irreversible. You will not return to old patterns. You will not fall back into old fears. You will not shrink to fit environments you have outgrown. You are rising, and nothing has the authority to pull you back down. Not people, not circumstances, not doubt, not delay. Heaven has ordained your elevation, and heaven never announces what it will not fulfill. Chosen one, as we move into unfolding of your journey, I want you to recognize how profoundly heaven has been reshaping your inner world to prepare you for the outward transformation that is now approaching. You may not realize it yet, but the version of you that stands here today is not the same one who entered the storms you once thought would break you. Something within you has shifted, something subtle yet undeniable. You carry a stillness now that you didn't have before. You carry a wisdom that did not come from books or advice, but from surviving what should have ended you. You carry a confidence that does not shout but radiates. Heaven has been crafting you in the hidden places, and now the hidden work is about to announce itself without you needing to speak a word. There were moments in your past where you were surrounded by noise, people's opinions, their expectations, their assumptions, their projections. But through time, heaven slowly quieted every external voice until you could finally hear the one voice that mattered. God separated you from distractions, not to isolate you, but to refine you. In the silence, you learned to hear your own spirit. In the silence, you learned to recognize what was authentic and what was artificial. In the silence, you learned how to differentiate between what was aligned with your soul and what was pulling you away from your destiny. That discernment is now becoming one of your greatest gifts, because the places you are being called to require a clarity that cannot be faked. Chosen one, you were never meant to blend in. Even when you